Lp(a), apoB, homocysteine, and unholy trinity responsible for millions of deaths every year. Just because we ignore basic biology. Every doctor knows it, but unfortunately our health system is reactive and not proactive, so it falls on you to advocate for your own health. There are some exceptions, if you saw my conversation with Dr. Kogan, but they are exceedingly rare. That's why I'm quite happy when I get questions like this, because educated people live longer. So, though English is not my first or even third language, if you stick with me, you'll gain some life-saving insights and improve your chances to live to be 100 or maybe even more. Deal? Let's go. Let's start with Lp(a). It's one of the proteins carrying cholesterol around. And cholesterol is fat, it doesn't dissolve in blood, so it needs a vehicle to get carried around. And Lp(a) is one of those vehicles. But the problem is, it's like a drunk truck driver who didn't sleep for a couple days. If you have seen those on the road, they're very accident prone. And they have a tendency to carry oxidized cholesterol, the toxic sludge. So when somebody in their 50s or 60s dies from heart disease, those little bastards are usually the killers. We all have them to some degree, it's genetic, and you absolutely have to know your personal numbers. Unfortunately, you cannot retrain those bad actors or affect them in any meaningful way by diet or exercise. So when Lp(a) is significantly elevated, which is 1 person out of 5, and that's, by the way, already worse than Russian roulette. The classical treatment is apheresis when you go to a hospital to filter your blood, which, as you can imagine, is quite annoying and expensive. Second option is a class of drugs called PCSK9 inhibitors. They reduce the number of drunk drivers by about 30%, and what's critical, affect the normal drivers as well. We'll talk about it in a second. These drugs are also not cheap and not extremely effective alone. The risk reduction is about 15%. But what's interesting, one of the first clinical trials aimed at changing out DNA in a grown adult with CRISPR is targeting the specific PCSK9 mechanism. The first human trial of a base editing treatment that permanently inactivates the PCSK9 gene. If it works out to the full extent of lowering Lp(a) and LDL, we might eliminate heart disease, if not altogether, but at least from top 5 most wanted killers. There are a couple of other RNA drugs in development to address the same problem. I keep an eye on all of them and will update you as soon as we get anything exciting. Now, let's continue to apoB and homocysteine. In some ways, they are much worse, because almost everyone has some kind of problems with them. That's the reason why heart disease is a Grim Reaper's champion. But in other ways, they are much better because they can be easily improved if you know what to do. apoBs are well-behaving drivers on the road. Accidents still happen, but not as often, and that's also where old, boring stuff works every day of the week. Exercise, control your stress, eat more fiber and polyphenols, eat less saturated fat and more omegas. All that reduces the number of vehicles on the road. Less vehicles, less accidents, less heart disease. Great? Except, of course, when you have familial hypercholesterolemia. Familial hypercholesterolemia. Damn, that's a mouthful. Let's just call it FH. FH actually used to be great stuff to survive in high infection and low-calorie environments long time ago, but not so much in the modern world. Thankfully, the modern world and medicine gave us statins, which when used correctly offer a strong risk-to-benefit ratio. By the way, did you know that the first statin, lovastatin, was delivered from fungus? This cute guy? Fun guy? But here's one possible problem with the statins. Elevated cholesterol can be caused by either overproduction in the liver or by overabsorption in the gut, which explains why some people can eat 10 eggs and be fine, while others can be quite sensitive to eating cholesterol. And statins, which target the production in the liver, are not going to do much in the case of absorption and reabsorption, unless you really crank them up. But that's exactly where you increase the risk of side effects and do not really address the root cause. I'm almost guaranteed that somebody you know is megadosing on statins and you can improve their lives by sharing this video with them. Because what they should be doing instead is taking a drug called ezetimibe, which reduces the absorption of the cholesterol, and then combining it with a small dose of a statin or bempedoic acid to suppress the natural rebalancing the liver will attempt to do when the global cholesterol level goes down. If you are lucky, that's exactly what your doctor knows and doing already. It's not rocket science. As I said, it's basic biology. But in my personal N of 5 experience, it wasn't the case until I started to really investigate and talk with healthcare system experts. So, if we take a step back, even if you have elevated Lp(a), the drunk drivers, you can still make your roads safer by reducing the total traffic. Of course, you can also improve the weather conditions, keep the blood pressure under control. You can improve the road quality by reducing inflammation and keeping blood sugars and insulin low. And here we come to homocysteine by keeping the municipal works, the methylation, in a good shape. Methylation is responsible for building the roads, painting the markers, and installing dividers and traffic lights. So, homocysteine can be improved in several independent ways. There is this whole methylation cycle, and you can start by fixing vitamin B status. That is what converts homocysteine to methionine. That's the main path of the methylation cycle. You can support the back door by supplementing with TMG or actually eating more eggs, unless of course you have that absorption problem. Or you can redirect homocysteine into glutathione production. If it sounds a little bit complicated, it's because it is. But worry not, I have explained me methylation like I'm 5 video for you right here. Do yourself a favor, watch it next to boost your physical and mental health. Living is smart, aging is bad, and I'll see you there.